Let's play ball. Okay. Blue Jays. Let's play ball.
On this week's episode of A Random Jays First Blue Jays Days, we talk about the Blue Jays debut of George Bell. George Bell was born October 21st, 1959 in San Pedro de Macorís. San Pedro de Macorís is a Dominican city of about 220,000 people and is basically known as a baseball factory, producing many major league players, including, but not limited to, Robinson Cano, Johnny Cueto, Tony Fernandez, Damaso Garcia, Manny Lee, Juan Samuel, Alfonso Soriano, Sammy Sosa, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Sr., and the list goes on. George began his professional baseball journey when he was signed as an international free agent by the Philadelphia Phillies on March 7, 1978, at the age of 18. To be eligible as an international free agent, players must be at least 16 years old or turn 16 by September 1st of the current signing period. Additionally, they must reside outside of the United States, Canada, or Puerto Rico, and have not attended high school in those countries during the previous year. Over 3 seasons within the Phillies organization, Bell played in 185 games, collecting 200 hits, 35 doubles, 22 home runs, and 127 RBIs. Most of these statistics were achieved during the 1979 season with the A-ball Spartanburg Phillies in the Western Carolinas League, which was the league's final season before it actually folded. Notable teammates on that 1979 Spartanburg Phillies included 1989 Cy Young Award winner Mark Davis, future Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg, and Raymond Borucki, father of future Blue Jay Ryan Borucki. The Toronto Blue Jays acquired George Bell during the 1980 Rule 5 draft on December 8, 1980. The Rule 5 draft is an annual Major League Baseball event designed to prevent teams from stockpiling young talent in their minor league systems. Players are eligible if they are not on their parent club's 40-man roster and have been in the minors for a specific duration. 4 years for those signed at age 19 or older, or 5 years for those signed 18 or younger. Teams select players in reverse order of the previous season's standings and pay the former club $50,000. The selected player must remain on the active 25-man MLB roster for the entire upcoming season. Otherwise, they must be offered back to their original team for $25,000. If the original team declines, the player must clear waivers before being sent back to the minors. This system prevents hoarding of prospects and provides minor leaguers with the opportunity to reach the majors. Other players of note selected in the 1980 Rule 5 draft include future Blue Jay Tom Filer, picked by the Seattle Mariners, future Blue Jay pitcher Tom Candiotti by the Royals, and future Blue Jay pitcher, for all of 7 games mind you, Dwayne Boyce by the Giants. And that's it. Finding future impact major leaguers in the Rule 5 draft is rare. However, the Blue Jays have had considerable success in the Rule 5 draft, selecting players such as Willie Upshaw from the Yankees in 1977, Jim Gott from the Cardinals in 81, Jim Acker from the Braves in 82, Kelly Gruber from the Indians in 83, Manny Lee from the Astros in 1984, and Joe Biagini from the Giants in 2015. Notable Blue Jays players lost to the Rule 5 draft include Mike Morgan to the Mariners in 1984, and Jordan Romano, selected to the White Sox in 2018, but returned to the Blue Jays 4 months later. Overall, the Blue Jays have excelled at both finding young talent in other organizations and protecting their own. Because George Bell was selected in that Rule 5 draft, he was required to remain on the Blue Jays Major League roster for the entire 1981 season or be offered back to the Phillies. So on opening day 1981, George Bell traveled with the team to Detroit on the 25-man roster. On April 9th, 1981, opening day in Detroit, the Blue Jays faced the Tigers and future Blue Jays ace and Hall of Famer Jack Morris in Detroit at Tiger Stadium. The Blue Jays starting lineup that day featured shortstop Alfredo Griffin, center fielder Lloyd Moseby, DH Otto the Swatto Velez, first baseman John Mayberry, left fielder Willie Upshaw, primarily a first baseman in later years, but played left field in his early career, which is news to me as the presenter. Second base Damaso Garcia, right field Barry Bonnell, third baseman Danny Ainge. Yes, Danny Ainge, who would go on to have a 14-year NBA career. Catcher Ernie Witt. Jim Clancy was a starting pitcher that day, with Joey McLaughlin, Mike Willis, and Roy Lee Jackson also seeing action. As you can see, George Bell is not noted in the starting lineup that day. Some notable Tigers In that lineup today, Hall of Famer Alan Trammell, Kirk Gibson, known for his legendary 1988 World Series home run off of Dennis Eckersley, five-time All-Star and one of the best shortstop of his era, Lou Whitaker, and future Blue Jay catcher for 70 games, Lance Parrish. George Bell made his Major League and Blue Jays debut in the top of the 8th inning, with the Blue Jays trailing 5-2. After Otto Velez walked and John Mayberry singled, Bell entered as a pinch runner for Mayberry at first base. Willie Upshaw flied out to left field, Garcia strikes out, and Barry Bonnell grounds out to the pitcher. Bell did not advance past first base. In the bottom of the 8th, he played left field, but did not record a defensive out. The Blue Jays went down in order in the 9th, concluding Bell's debut with no at-bats and minimal action. Nonetheless, George Bell was now a major leaguer. He became the 14,414th player to play in the major leagues. In 1981, Bell appeared in 60 games, tallying 38 hits, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 5 home runs, and 12 RBIs, with a .233 batting average. Somehow, with those numbers, he finished 8th in the Rookie of the Year voting, behind eventual winner Dave Righetti of the New York Yankees. Bell spent all of the 1982 and most of the 1983 at AAA, but emerged as the Blue Jays' regular left fielder in 1984, just as the team was on the cusp of great success. George Bell was arguably the Blue Jays' first offensive superstar. He finished in the top 20 of MVP voting 5 times in 9 years, winning the award in 1987, the first Blue Jays to do so. Incidentally, the player that finished second in MVP voting in 1987 was none other than Alan Trammell, who was playing second base on the date of George Bell's debut. George Bell was a 2-time All-Star, a 3-time Silver Slug Award winner. Over 9 seasons with Toronto, he batted .286 with 202 home runs and 740 RBIs. In 12 playoff games spanning the 1985 and 1989 postseasons, he hit .271 with 1 home run and 3 RBIs. On April 4th, 1988, George Bell became the first player in Major League history to hit 3 home runs on opening day, a record that's since been matched by Matt Davidson in 2018, Dmitry Young in 2005, and Tuffy Rhodes in 1994. On May 28th, 1989, he hit the last home run in the final game at Exhibition Stadium off of Bobby Thigpen to walk off the Chicago White Sox, just days before the Blue Jays moved into the Skydome. Then, on June 5th, 1989, the first game at the Blue Jays' new ballpark Skydome, George Bell would be the first Blue Jay player to score a run, scoring ahead of a Fred McGriff on a 2-run home run, making George Bell the last player to score at Exhibition Stadium and the first to score at Skydome. After the 1990 season, Bell signed as a free agent with the Chicago Cubs and became an All-Star in 1991. Incidentally, in the 1991 draft, the Blue Jays selected right-handed pitcher Jeff Ware with a 35th overall pick as compensation for losing Bell to free agency. Ware pitched 18 games for the Blue Jays between 1995 and 96, but we'll get to him another day. In March 1992, Bell was traded to the Chicago White Sox for future home run king Sammy Sosa. Bell continued to excel, finishing in the top 20 in MVP voting in 1992. Bell's career concluded after the 1993 season, which again ended in controversy. During the ALCS against our Toronto Blue Jays, although Bell was on the White Sox playoff roster, he was benched after refusing to be the designated hitter and did not play in the series. He was released at the season's end and never played again. George Bell is recognized as one of the Blue Jays' all-time greats and played a key role in moving the team from last place to playoff contention. George Bell currently ranks 7th in games played, 5th in at-bats, 6th in runs, 5th in hits, 5th in doubles, 9th in triples, 6th in home runs, 4th in RBIs, 8th in batting average, and 4th in total bases. The Blue Jays honored George Bell by adding him to their level of excellence on April 9th, 1996. In 1999, he received 6 votes for the National Baseball Hall of Fame, far short of induction, but a testament to his impact. Bell was inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame on June 29th, 2013. One of my most cherished baseball memories comes from the penultimate game of the 1985 season. On October 5th, 1985, the Blue Jays just needed one more win against their feared rivals, the New York Yankees, to clinch their first American League East Division title. With Toronto leading 5-1, Doyle Alexander was pitching to Ron Hasse, who had a fly ball to left field. Bell made the final out, dropped to his knees, with a young Tony Fernandez sprinting out to celebrate him. I was at this game with my father, sitting in the left field bleachers of Old Exhibition Stadium. A memory I will never forget.
9 years the Blue Jay fans have waited for this. There's a drive to George Bell. He's got to come in. He's there. He's got it. The Blue Jays have won it. The Jays have won it. They've won the Eastern Division Championship. How about those Toronto Blue Jays? They've done it.
In the next episode, we discuss the Blue Jays debut of pitcher Steve Cummings. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
Hello, my name's Poku and I don't know what to do.